Let's be honest. Men hear I love you all the time. From movies, from songs, even from past relationships. The words are beautiful, but they're not always the ones that make his chest tighten, his breath catch, and his heart say, she's the one. What truly shakes a man to his core isn't always spoken. It's shown in the small, quiet gestures, the ones that whisper, I see you, I choose you, you matter. These gestures cut deeper than words, and once you learn them, you'll understand why a man will never forget a woman who does them. Here are 7 gestures that pierce a man's heart far deeper than the 3 words, I love you. 1. The gesture of silent presence. Imagine this. He's had a long, brutal day. He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to explain. He just wants to sit, maybe with his head in his hands, the weight of the world on his shoulders. Most people would push, ask questions, or get offended by the silence. But you? You simply sit near him. You don't demand words. You don't force conversation. You let your presence be enough. You might gently place your hand on his arm or just exist beside him, quietly, while he battles his storm. That silent presence tells him, I don't need your perfect words. I just want to be where you are, even in your silence. And that cuts deeper than any declaration of love. It tells him you can handle his darkness as much as his light. 2. The gesture of remembering the small things. He once told you, months ago, that his grandfather used to fix radios in a tiny shop. Or maybe he mentioned his favorite candy as a child. It was a passing detail, something he never expected you to hold on to. But then, out of nowhere, you surprise him. You bring that candy. You ask him to tell you more about his grandfather. You smile when you reference that tiny detail he thought had vanished into the air. And in that moment, his heart does something words can't describe. Because here's the truth. Men rarely believe someone truly sees them. They think people notice only the surface, the job, the car, the way they act. But when you remember the smallest, quietest thing, you prove that you've been paying attention to him, not just the idea of him. That gesture hits harder than, I love you, because it whispers, I notice you in ways no one else does. 3. The gesture of gentle touch. When he doesn't expect it. Every man knows what it's like to be touched with desire. But what melts him isn't always passion. It's tenderness. When you reach for his hand under the table, when you brush his hair away from his forehead, when you rest your palm softly on his chest as if to say, I'm here and I care. These small, unplanned touches go straight past his logic and into his heart. They tell him he's more than a provider, more than strength, more than the man the world expects him to be. He's human. He's worthy of affection without conditions. You'd be surprised how many men go years without feeling this kind of tenderness. When you give it freely, it lands deeper than the loudest words. 4. The gesture of standing with him in public. A man feels a certain kind of pride when the woman he loves stands tall beside him, not just in private, but in front of others. It's the way you introduce him warmly to your friends, the way you look at him when he's speaking, as if his words matter, the way you place a gentle hand on his back when he feels nervous at a gathering. This gesture says, I'm not just with you when no one's looking. I'm proud of you, proud to be with you, proud to be seen with you. For a man, this is monumental, because many men secretly fear being loved only in the shadows, not in the light. When you stand beside him openly and proudly, it carves a place in his heart deeper than I love you ever could. 5. The gesture of believing in his dreams. Every man has a dream. Some are loud and bold. Some are fragile, whispered only in safe moments. But every man fears failure. He fears being laughed at, dismissed, or told he's not good enough. When you, his partner, say, I believe in you, I believe you can do this, It doesn't just encourage him, it transforms him. Maybe you write a small note and slip it into his laptop before a big meeting. Maybe you send a message before his interview, reminding him of his strengths. Maybe you simply look into his eyes and say, "I know you can." That belief, that unwavering faith, feels like oxygen to him. It tells him he's not alone in the fight, that even if the world doubts him, you don't. And that gesture, it lingers in his chest far longer than any words of love. 6. The gesture of vulnerability. So many women believe they must always be strong, flawless, unshakable. But do you know what touches a man even more deeply? When you allow yourself to be vulnerable with him. When you admit your fears. When you show him your tears. When you trust him enough to let him see the parts you usually hide from the world. This gesture says, "I trust you with my heart. I trust you with my softest places." And for a man, that is everything. Because deep down, men long to be protectors. Not in the outdated sense, but in the emotional one. When you let him protect your heart, not because you're weak, but because you trust him, that's when he feels chosen in the most powerful way. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's intimacy. And intimacy is what forges bonds stronger than any spoken, "I love you." 7. The gesture of choosing him. Every day. Love isn't just about the big moments. It's in the choice you make daily. The choice to text him just to say you're thinking of him. The choice to sit with him instead of scrolling your phone. The choice to make his favorite meal or laugh at his jokes or smile when he walks in the room. Every small choice whispers, "Out of all the people in this world, I choose you. Today, again, and I'll choose you tomorrow." A man may hear "I love you" many times, but when he feels consistently chosen, when your actions prove it, that's when he feels secure, adored, and deeply loved. The ending, he'll never forget. At the end of the day, men don't just want the words. They crave the proof. And proof isn't always loud, dramatic, or expensive. It's in the gestures that most people overlook. The silent presence, the remembered detail, the gentle touch, the public pride, the belief in his dreams, the willingness to be vulnerable, and the daily choice. These are the 7 gestures that hit a man's heart harder than any "I love you." Because words fade, but feelings stay. And when you make him feel chosen, safe, seen, and cherished, you become unforgettable. So the next time you wonder how to truly reach him, remember, you don't have to say anything at all. Sometimes the gestures speak louder than the words and leave echoes in his heart forever.